In the realm of the ancient gods, where the tapestry of existence was woven with threads of power, beauty, and nature, there existed a goddess whose spirit resonated with the wild and untamed. Artemis, twin sister of Apollo, was not merely a deity of the hunt. She was the embodiment of freedom, strength, and the fierce protector of all that roamed the forests and danced upon the mountains. Her presence was felt in the rustling leaves, the whispering winds, and the shimmering waters of the streams that carved their way through the earth. Artemis was born under the radiant light of a full moon, her first cries echoing through the woods, signaling the arrival of a force that would forever alter the balance between humanity and nature. From an early age, she exhibited a profound connection to the wilderness. While her brother Apollo basked in the glow of the sun, inspiring creativity and enlightenment, Artemis reveled in the shadows of the trees, her heart beating in time with the pulse of the earth. She was wild and free, a spirit unbound by the constraints of civilization. As she grew, her prowess in archery became legendary. The bow, crafted from the finest yew, was an extension of her will, a tool not only for hunting but also for safeguarding her domain. Each arrow she released was imbued with her essence, a promise that she would protect the innocent and maintain the delicate balance of life. With her loyal companions, nymphs of the forest and creatures of the wild, she roamed the vast expanses of her realm, a guardian of all that was pure and untainted. Yet, her strength was not solely in her skill with the bow. Artemis was a strategist, a thinker who understood the complexities of the world around her. She saw the encroachment of humanity into the sacred spaces of nature, the relentless expansion of cities, and the insatiable appetite for resources that threatened to disrupt the harmony she cherished. It was in these moments that her resolve was tested, and her adventures became a tapestry of challenges that intertwined her fate with that of the natural world. One fateful day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the forest, Artemis sensed a disturbance. The air was thick with tension, and the once gentle sounds of nature were replaced with the cacophony of machinery and the shouts of men. Her heart quickened as she ventured closer, her senses heightened. What she discovered was a group of hunters, armed with rifles and traps, encroaching upon a sacred grove that had long been a sanctuary for the deer and other woodland creatures. The sight ignited a fire within her. These men, driven by greed and a misguided sense of sport, threatened to unravel the very fabric of the wilderness she had vowed to protect. With a swift motion, she nocked an arrow to her bow, the sharp tip glistening in the fading light. She was not merely a goddess of the hunt. She was the embodiment of justice for the voiceless. Artemis emerged from the shadows, her presence commanding and fierce. The hunters froze, their eyes widening in disbelief as the goddess of the hunt stood before them, her hair cascading like a waterfall of silver, her gaze piercing through the darkness. "Leave this place," she commanded, her voice a melodic yet authoritative echo that resonated through the grove. "You intrude upon sacred ground, and I will not allow you to harm my kin." The men, taken aback, hesitated. They had heard tales of the goddess, but the reality of her presence was something entirely different. In their hearts, they felt a flicker of fear, for they understood that they stood before a force far greater than themselves. But arrogance and ignorance often cloud judgment, and one of the hunters stepped forward, brandishing his weapon defiantly. "We have the right to hunt," he scoffed, "to take what we please." Artemis narrowed her eyes, the air around her crackling with energy. "You have the right to coexist, to respect the boundaries of nature. You are not its master. You are merely a part of its intricate web. To take without giving back is to invite destruction upon yourself." With that, she released her arrow, a blur of motion that struck the ground at the hunter's feet, sending a shower of dirt and grass into the air. The message was clear. The hunters, now realizing the gravity of their situation, turned to flee, their bravado evaporating like mist in the morning sun. But Artemis was not finished. She followed them, her presence a specter of vengeance as she invoked the spirits of the forest. The trees seemed to bend and sway, their branches reaching out as if to ensnare the intruders. The very ground beneath their feet shifted, roots emerging to trip them as they stumbled through the underbrush. In the chaos, Artemis felt a surge of triumph. She had protected her realm, but her heart was heavy. This encounter was merely a glimpse of the ongoing battle between humanity and nature. For every victory she claimed, there would be another challenge, another intrusion. She knew that the fight for the sanctity of the wild was far from over. As the days turned into weeks, Artemis continued her patrols, vigilant and unwavering. Her adventures took her to the farthest reaches of her domain, where she encountered not only hunters but also poachers, those who sought to exploit the beauty of the natural world for profit. Each confrontation was a test of her strength and resolve, and with each victory, she grew more determined to educate those who would listen about the importance of preserving the delicate balance of life. One day, while wandering near a serene lake, Artemis stumbled upon a group of children playing at the water's edge. Their laughter rang through the air, a sound so pure that it momentarily eased the weight upon her heart. She watched as they chased after dragonflies, their innocence a stark contrast to the darkness she often encountered. Intrigued, she approached, her presence cloaked in the guise of a gentle breeze. "Do you love the forest?" she asked, her voice soft and melodic. The children turned, their eyes wide with wonder. "Yes!" they exclaimed in unison, their faces alight with joy. "We come here to play and explore," Artemis smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her. "Then you must learn to protect it. The forest is alive, and it needs guardians like you." She shared stories of the creatures that dwelled within the trees, the songs of the birds, and the wisdom of the ancient oaks. The children listened intently, their imaginations ignited by her words. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the lake, Artemis knew that this was her true calling. It was not enough to simply defend the wild. She needed to inspire a new generation to cherish and protect it. With each story she shared, she planted seeds of awareness in their hearts, hoping they would grow into a profound respect for the natural world. But the challenges were relentless. One evening, as she returned from her visit with the children, she encountered a sight that shattered her heart. A once thriving meadow had been transformed into a barren wasteland, the vibrant flowers and grasses replaced by a sea of destruction. Men with heavy machinery had come, tearing through the earth in their quest for expansion, leaving nothing but devastation in their wake. Rage coursed through her veins, a tempest of emotions that threatened to consume her. She knew she had to act. Drawing upon the strength of the earth itself, she summoned the spirits of the land. The ground trembled and the wind howled as she invoked the ancient forces that lay dormant beneath the surface. With a fierce cry, she unleashed her power, causing the machines to sputter and fail, the men scrambling in confusion as their tools of destruction turned against them. "Leave this place," she commanded, her voice echoing like thunder. "You will not desecrate the land that gives you life. You must learn to live in harmony with nature, not against it." The men, overwhelmed by the force of her presence, fled in terror, leaving behind their broken machinery. Artemis stood amidst the ruins, her heart heavy with the weight of the battle she fought. She knew that for every victory, there was a cost, and the scars of destruction would take time to heal. In the days that followed, she poured her energy into restoring the meadow, calling upon the spirits of nature to aid her. Slowly but surely, life began to return. Flowers blossomed where once there was only desolation, and the songs of birds filled the air once more. It was a labor of love, a testament to her unwavering commitment to the wild. Yet, as she worked, she felt a shift in the air. Whispers of discontent echoed through the forest, a sense of unease that sent shivers down her spine. It was then that she learned of a new threat. A powerful figure had emerged among humanity, a businessman with ambitions to expand his empire into the heart of her realm. He sought to exploit the land for profit, disregarding the delicate balance that Artemis fought so hard to protect. Determined to confront this new adversary, Artemis devised a plan. She would not only protect her domain, but also seek to educate those who would listen. She would show them the beauty of the forest, the interconnectedness of all living things, and the importance of preserving the wild for future generations. The day of the confrontation arrived, and Artemis stood at the edge of the grove, her heart steady and resolute. The businessman, flanked by a group of investors, approached with an air of arrogance, his eyes gleaming with the promise of wealth. "This land is ripe for development," he proclaimed, gesturing expansively. "Imagine the profits we could reap." Artemis stepped forward, her presence commanding. "This land is not a commodity to be exploited. It is a sanctuary for countless creatures, a vital part of the ecosystem. You cannot simply take without understanding the consequences of your actions." The businessman scoffed, dismissing her words as the ramblings of a misguided idealist. "Nature is meant to be tamed, to serve humanity's needs. Progress requires sacrifice." With each word he spoke, Artemis felt her resolve strengthen. True progress is found in harmony, not destruction. You have the power to choose a different path, one that respects the land and its inhabitants. I urge you to reconsider. But he was unmoved, his vision clouded by greed. In that moment, Artemis knew that words alone would not sway him. She called upon the spirits of the forest, summoning the strength of the earth to manifest before them. The ground trembled, and the trees swayed, their branches reaching out as if to shield the grove from the encroaching darkness. The investors, witnessing the raw power of nature, began to falter, their confidence wavering. The businessman, however, stood firm, his arrogance blinding him to the truth. "You cannot intimidate me with tricks. I will not be deterred." Artemis took a deep breath, channeling her energy into a final plea. "This is not intimidation. This is a warning. The land will fight back if you choose to harm it. Your greed will lead to your downfall, and the consequences will ripple through generations." As she spoke, the winds picked up, swirling around them in a chaotic dance. The skies darkened, and thunder rumbled in the distance. The businessman's bravado began to crack, and doubt flickered in his eyes. It was in that moment of vulnerability that Artemis saw her chance. "Join me," she urged, her voice steady and unwavering. "Become a steward of the land. Invest in its preservation, not its destruction. You have the power to change the narrative, to be a part of something greater than yourself." The businessman hesitated, the weight of her words pressing upon him. The forest, alive with energy, seemed to echo her sentiment. The investors, sensing the shift, began to murmur among themselves, contemplating the implications of their choices. In that moment, Artemis felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps she could reach him. Perhaps she could inspire a change of heart. The winds calmed, and the sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm light over the grove. The beauty of the natural world surrounded them, a reminder of what was at stake. Finally, the businessman lowered his gaze, the arrogance fading from his posture. "What do you propose?" he asked, his voice softer, tinged with uncertainty. Artemis stepped forward, her heart swelling with possibility. "Let us work together. I will show you the wonders of this land, the beauty that lies within its depths. Together we can create a vision that honors both progress and preservation." In that moment, a pact was forged, a delicate balance struck between humanity and nature. The businessman, transformed by the experience, became an advocate for the wild, using his resources to promote conservation efforts and inspire others to follow suit. With Artemis by his side, they embarked on a journey to educate, to restore, and to protect the land they both cherished. As the seasons changed, so too did the landscape. The grove flourished, a testament to the power of collaboration and understanding. Artemis continued to roam the forests, her heart alight with purpose. She had faced countless challenges, but with each victory, she grew stronger, more resolute in her mission. Through her adventures, she learned that true strength lay not only in the power to protect, but also in the ability to inspire change. The wild was not simply a battleground. It was a sanctuary, a living entity that deserved respect and reverence. And as long as she drew breath, she would stand as its guardian, a fierce protector of freedom and strength. In the years that followed, Artemis became a legend, a symbol of hope for those who sought to protect the natural world. Her stories were passed down through generations, a reminder of the delicate balance that existed between humanity and nature. The children she had once spoken to grew into adults who carried her message forward, becoming stewards of the land in their own right. And so, the legacy of Artemis continued, woven into the very fabric of the earth. Her spirit lived on in the rustling leaves, the songs of the birds, and the laughter of children playing in the meadows. She was a goddess of the wild, a fierce protector of the innocent, and a champion of freedom, forever entwined with the essence of nature itself.